whoa, 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 whoa. Don't look at me, audience, for what's going on. I'm just as out of the loop as you are. It just started happening, and here we are. Hey, internets, it's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and these are your Dawnbringers. This is the Dawnbringers, Season 6, The Wild Beyond the WitchLight, and this is Episode 19, World on Fire. If you missed last week, you missed a doozy. Just ask him. We're gonna get into a little bit of a recap and start dealing with the consequences of what happened last week in just a moment. First, a couple of announcements. One, for a little bit of insight into how bad last week went. For the first time in I don't know how long, look up above V and Dan and you will see the Dawnbringers are below 100 domain dice. Yeah, you went through the Dawnbringer. Spent somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 domain dice last week, I believe. So the domain dice are, of course, a way that you, the audience, can have an influence on the game simply by subscribing, resubscribing, gifting subs, cheering bits, donations, all that good stuff. Gets them more domain tomes, because this was just a taste of the things. Domain dice.
I
also,
don't know what the tome is.
Nobody noticed, and I don't fault you for not noticing this, because you were kind of busy last week. But I did not mess up the dwarves' names once last week. Not once.
I mean, the fact that we didn't react to it means,
Until Monday, when I was trying to tell Em what happened, and I immediately said that Thorgarn was unconscious. So it was a delayed action name.
Didn't you mix up Fig and Rolo instead?
Oh, that's right. So. That's probably why you didn't notice. I forgot about that.
Rolo.
Bad brain.
Those two have nothing to do with each other in terms of names.
There's no winning.
No.
It's still accurate that he messed up the dwarf names.
I tried to claim a victory, and I just got it
when you have
snatched
6
away.
kids, it's really difficult to keep them all straight.
Right.
I'm just waiting for the Drown and Cantriel confusion. That's
my parents had 3, and they'll just call out random names till they get to the right one. Like,
yeah, I got called the dog's name as a kid's even. So
with the kids and the cats, who are we kidding?
Right.
I'm the only boy of four. I almost said the only boy of 4 sisters. I have 4 sisters. The only boy of 5. The only boy of 5 kids. So it was an extra insult when my parents messed up my name with one of my sisters. So anyway, that's domain dice. I do want to draw attention up here. We are still sponsored by Session Zero Clothing. Be sure to check out that affiliate link and use code MTD0 to get 10% off of your order. All kinds of cool apparel, t-shirts, hats, stickers, great stuff going on over there. Head on over, check it out. Channel sponsor, Talon and Claw. I'm going to be honest. I don't know if that Etsy link is still valid, because I know they've moved their shop and they are moving to a regular website, which I just remembered as I mentioned that. So I'm going to make a note so I can update my link for all of you. But yeah, just Google search Talon and Claw, I guess, for their website, because I don't know what it is right now. But
Google is a free action.
You can use code. Actually, I got to check in with Anthony on that whole thing. Regardless, check out their stuff. Even if you don't get the discount, it's still really great stuff. Just ask Katie. Katie's
Club does still have stuff on their Etsy site as of now.
Thank you. So yeah, check that out. Jeremy's also put in their other shop, shoptalonandclaw.com. Thank you, Jeremy. But Katie and I and many others can vouch for the awesomeness of the stuff they have. I have a whole slew of dice vaults over here. I say whole slew. I have a sliver of what Katie has. Yeah, there's many.
All the wood vaults are from Talon and Claw.
Yeah, fantastic. So be sure to check them out as well. If you're not already watching the 2 newer streams that are happening here on MTD, we did take a hiatus this week, or rather, we just didn't play because somebody wasn't feeling well. Which means our next game will be on November 1st, I believe, for Descent into Avernus, the Road Warriors of Hell. That is an every 2 weeks game. It is a limited campaign. Somewhere before the end of next year, that game will end. But it is an absolute blast playing this darker campaign under the DM prowess of the amazing Violet Davies. And we have a great crew of players as well. And then on November 9th, Wednesday, November 9th, is the finale of the trilogy, The Darkness Outside of Broken Branch. Our friend Carrie's first ever game mastering foray in Call of Cthulhu, Down Darker Trails, a little bit of Pulp Cthulhu action in the Old West. And we are deep down in a silver mine, and it's getting bad, y'all. So be sure to tune in for that if horror and Call of Cthulhu and that kind of stuff is your bag. Otherwise, you are here for some Dawnbringers. So one final announcement, and we will get into this game, which is, of course, our mental health check-in. Just a reminder that you might be struggling for any number of reasons. First off, know that it's okay to not be okay. Your struggle is valid, but you do not have to struggle alone. You can come into our chat anytime and do as Jeremy has just done, type !help. You'll see a couple URLs there. There's findahelpline.com, where you can check out takethis.org's growing list of resources. We encourage you to...
They just uploaded the resource page, too.
Oh, fantastic. New updates to the resource page. And for many of us, we are good friends with some of the folks over there at takethis.org, and they take this stuff seriously. So you're getting the best of the best with their resources. It's all good information. It's all important information. Bookmark it. Save it for yourself. Save it for a friend. And remember, you matter. With that, I think it is time to play some Dungeons and Dragons. You have been traveling through the Feywild on what started off as a search for 8 of your missing crew members, the survivors of the rending of the Evangeline, when the great white worm by the name of Arviatris took your ship, or rather took her treasure and reclaimed it, the ship breaking in half. You found out after dealing with things in the north that your ship was more than just a ship. It was actually an aspect of, or inhabited by an aspect of, the Archfey Evangeline, its namesake. And so in addition to rescuing the 8 survivors that Evangeline sent into the Feywild, she also let you know that she had been captured, imprisoned in the Feywild. And so you ventured forth, and you've been dealing with members of the Hourglass Coven. You maneuvered through the swamps of Hither, and came face to face with the hag Bevlorna Blightstraw. You have been navigating the increasingly decaying forests of Thither, making your way towards a final confrontation at Loomlurch with Granny Nightshade, Scabatha Nightshade. It was during this confrontation, as you split your party, some of you heading to the kitchens to deal with one of the children that was imprisoned there, Let me rephrase that, not to deal with them, to rescue them. I realized that was harsh wording. To deal with the dragon that was there. The rest of you set about trying to rescue the children, engaging in a battle with Scabatha Nightshade herself, while the fallen tree that was Loomlurch rose to several feet and began traversing the forest. But it was during this encounter that fire and ash began to rain down from above, and the green dragon was torn asunder, emerging from within it, an ancient red dragon, Regan Vost the Resentful, a servant and lieutenant of Ashardalon. This dragon began to utterly wreak havoc on the Dawnbringers and the surrounding territories. After a very intense battle, with many of the Dawnbringers receiving numerous burns and other wounds, as Regan Voss dissipated into a shower of sparks, not dead, but just leaving, the skies ripped open and massive rocks of molten rock and fire came crashing down, and one of these struck near the dragon, forcing Drown, Talmud, and Fig to have to take evasive action. Drown just barely managed to keep your feet about you, but Talmud took the full brunt of the fire and impact of this meteor. And Fig, though trying to take refuge behind what remained of the stove in this kitchen, caught half of that fire and bludgeoning. To put it into perspective purely in game mechanics, there was somewhere in the neighborhood of 152 points of damage that Talmud took, and half as much of that Fig took. While Drown did use your tentacle to absorb a small amount of that, possibly saving Fig's life ultimately, reducing that damage somewhat. And this is where we are going to join in. Our camera is going to move around amongst the Dawnbringers. Picture this cinematically, almost as slow motion, as fire and ash are drifting down around all of you. Many of you are now ashen gray with soot from these fires, as well as singe marks. Some of you have rivulets of blood running through the ash. We're going to go first to you, Rollo, as you have stepped outside of Rollo's House of Affirmation, where you have protected the children. You summoned your water elemental, Drippy, to begin moving around, putting out the fires that had erupted everywhere, and focusing just on that. This entire, what was once the dormitory, is saturated and protected from further fire. But Rollo, you have a bit of a history with former adventuring parties that you joined with. In some cases dying because of excessive use of fire. And I would like you to whatever degree you think this is affecting Rollo, take us inside Rollo's mind as you're standing there watching this, just sort of in slow motion, looking around, knowing that the kids are safe behind you, but seeing this flame-wrought destruction around you.
I think Rollo emerges from the door to the House of Affirmations, and she walks into this room that's just blackened and soot-stained from the fire that had broken out, that Drippy extinguished. And she kind of walks out at first and is just kind of looking around like, where's everyone? Oh no! She runs over, hearing the kerfluffle happening outside. She runs over to the window just in time to see the dragon piff into smoke and ash, because I did last week get the thumbs up. She flies up and collects some of the dust and kind of pockets it, and then she turns around looking for everybody and doesn't see anyone, and there's just fire, and she kind of flies there for a second, and she's very smart, but it takes a minute for it to click. And her eyes just kind of get really big and really wide. And she goes just zipping down into the area of the tree and starts screaming everybody's name in just this Cantriel! Cantriel! It's Rollo! Cantriel! Talmud! Talmud! Fig! Drone! Thorgarn! Everybody!
Everything is heavily obscured from the smoke and ash in the air. And Rollo, you are zipping back and forth and creating these whorls in the smoke and ash as your wings beat fast. I imagine, Rollo, you're half flying, half crawling and running around these branches, and this whole thing came crashing down to the ground. So there's pieces of broken branches and what was structures. I would like you to make me an investigation check at disadvantage because of how obscured everything is.
Oh, a disadvantage?
Yes.
I rolled a 1 for an 11.
Okay.
The other one was a 12.
Thorgarn,
Yes.
you hear somewhere, it's hard to tell where, because you're also hearing the sounds of snapping branches, the crackling of fire that's burning the wood of Loomlurch. You hear Rollo zipping around calling out people's names, but you're having a hard time placing where Rollo is. In the aftermath of what has happened with all this destruction around you, Thorgarn, take us inside your mind and what you are doing in the immediate moments afterwards.
So with everything that's just transpired, Thorgarn is feeling first and foremost panic and shame over the fear and the inability to actually defeat this foe. Everything that we've come up against has kind of almost been a hands down, we got this kind of thing. And this addressed us as it's the lieutenant of who we're supposed to be going up against. Not the general, not the second in command. This is someone, down the line that of a Chardalon that is gonna have to be mightier than this thing. And it whooped our asses and just kind of left us with a message. He hears the voice on the wind of Rollo, so that lets him know, okay, she's still alive, but he's got sights on his cousin, who I'm pretty sure he just saw fell and not moving, trying to get to him.
One of the things you did all hear before Fig fell was you did hear Fig cry out Talmud's name when Talmud went down, and almost immediately Fig's voice was cut off. Thorgarn, I would like you to make me an investigation check at disadvantage.
Even know if this is worth me rolling, but sure.
You never
Can't
know.
do worse than me.
What do you got an 11? I absolutely can. I double 4s on the dice for a 4.
Okay. You're not even sure at this point which way the kitchen is. For the moment.
Okay.
Cantriel. You had maneuvered closer so you could get some shots in on this dragon. Putting in the full power of your Sempre Cavatina. Which means you had a front row seat to the absolute destruction that happened when this meteor fell from the sky, right near where half of your party was. You don't know for the moment their fate. The last thing you heard was Fig crying out. What, Cantriel, as the flames have sort of happened and now this is mostly just this roiling smoke and ash and you're trying to get your bearings, what are you doing?
First of all, she's misty stepping right into the center of where she saw that meteor strike, knowing that she had companions in that area. And as soon as she appears there, she's going to be looking for whomever she can find the quickest near her and make a beeline over there.
I would like you to make an investigation check.
Okay.
This will be with disadvantage as well.
Okay, that's going to... So 12.
We are so good at this, gang.
Cantriel, as you move from one area of billowing smoke and ash, you misty step into an area that's immediately filled with somehow more smoke and ash. And it's taking you a moment to even figure out if you... Well, you don't have any doubt you went to the right spot. To even figure out what was the kitchen. Where was everybody? Cantriel, you sense something. It's like hearing a far off voice. Right at the edge of your senses. Like for a moment you're not entirely sure if you're actually even hearing this. Is it your imagination? No, there's a very faint voice and it seems to be slightly picking up in volume. And it takes you a moment to place this voice because you're not expecting to hear it. And you have not heard the voice of Sonata, your sister, for 100 or more years. But it's not coming from the smoke and ash around you. It's coming from inside your mind. All of a sudden, what was distant, like trying to tune in anachronistically, trying to tune into a weak radio signal, suddenly it locks in on you. And you hear Sonata's voice. Cantriel. This is Sonata. Your sister. No, you know that. Sorry. Chardalon is returning.
Oh, I already got that message.
Everywhere. I lost count. What was that at? 15? He's echoing across the multiverse. There's more. I'll tell you. And it cuts off. I can't remember. You can reply to sending, right?
Mm-hmm. aware he's here already. Where the hell are you? I'm coming to get you.
There's a moment, and again, a little bit of that. It takes a lot less time this time, but it's like she had to dial in to where you were. Then you hear, in Luskin, heading north, 10 towns will be the epicenter. You need to know a Chardalon has empowered himself beyond what any of us ever thought was. And it cuts out.
Possible. Message received. I know where you're going. Lay low. Don't do anything stupid. I'll find you.
There is no reply. You can only assume the magic returned your message back to your sister. Fig, I would like you to make a death saving throw, please.
All right. It's a 6.
Fig, after the blast of flame and rock hit you, despite the shielding by Drown, which you just caught a glimpse of him using his Eldritch Tentacle and partially obscuring yourself beyond this this stove in this kitchen.
That's ironic.
As this all hits you and you find yourself on the threshold of death, inside your mind, where does Fig find himself?
Fig finds himself sitting in an armchair in a very familiar library. He looks up from the book that he has been studying, and he sees the translucent waver of that force field from the tower. And as he looks up, he says, "But I do not understand. This equation does not make any sense. That you must have done the math wrong."
As you say this, whether you knew this or not, it's yourself that you're talking to. As you turn towards a massive blackboard, scrawled with sigils, arcane symbols, mathematics in all different languages, you start walking between the rows of books in this library. And as you're moving towards this blackboard, with every step you take, flames begin climbing up the shelves, engulfing the books behind you as you fail your first death save.
I imagine that there are multiple figs kind of walking together, and I imagine the camera like snaps between each of them. One's reading a book, one is actually on fire, like looking at a parchment, and the one fig that's walking towards the blackboard, the other ones are saying, "You miscalculated. Your emotions are getting in the way. They are in error." The other one is saying, no, they're not in error. You can do this again. And as he's like walking towards the blackboard.
Make me a perception check. Straight up.
3.
Okay. Talmud. The last thing you remember, you were fiercely gripping Gertelbrelne in your hands, and you were waging your rage-filled war against Regenvost. Then he dissipated into fire and ash. There was a blinding explosion of light and sound. Where do you find yourself now?
Talmud is in his clan hall, and the flash of light that he just saw is instantly transformed into the stoking of a massive fire that's inside of the hearth that's built into one wall. And he's holding the poker, standing just in front of the flames, stirring them, trying to build them back up. He's wrestling with something. There's a trouble that kind of sits heavily on him, but he says nothing.
I would like you to make a death saving throw, please.
That's a 5, Chief.
As you stoke the fire within your clan hall, and the flames suddenly grow bright and hot, you hear a voice to your right say, "Should you be doing that, Father? It's your daughter."
He kind of turns, kind of pulled quickly out of his thoughts. What? What are you doing out of bed? It's way too late for you to be awake.
She takes a step closer. You see the firelight reflecting in her eyes. And in that moment you see you see a maturity there. Though this is your young daughter as you remember her. You see in her eyes the knowledge of all the years that have passed since her passing. You don't know where you are, do you? And we cut over to Drown. At the epicenter of this meteor that crashed in the wake of Regenvost. You saw and heard in the last moments what happened, keeping yourself protected enough to stave off the worst possibility. And looking across, you saw the danger that Fig was in. And you protected Fig as best you could. And still, the last thing you saw was Fig going down to one side. And you just caught a glimpse of Talmud's prone body not far away from you. Everything has that muffled sound in the wake of a massive explosion, a ringing in your ears. You can't see, your eyes are stinging with sweat, with the ash. What are you doing, Drown, in this moment?
In the first moments where Drown is able to pull his wits back together, he's probably at best on one knee with both hands on the ground and maybe throwing broken chunks of this giant burning tree off of his back. And is it too smoky and obscured to see where anyone is at the moment?
You can make a perception check at disadvantage.
How about that investigation? I think some people...
Sorry, investigation, that's what I meant.
Oh, good. Way better. Hey, 17.
With that 17...
So he doesn't so much look as he stops, closes his eyes, gets his bearings, and remembers the last place he saw everyone.
Not only that, with that 17, by closing your eyes, you remember your relative position, Talmud and Fig. But you also hear this sound not far away, just a few feet away. You hear footsteps. And then you hear Cantriel's voice. She's talking to someone. As you hear her side of the conversation with Sonata.
Right. So the second Drown kind of has that mental map of the area, he starts heading in the direction where Talmud fell with the dragon. As I recall, that was closer to me than Fig is, right?
Yes. All right, and that 17 was enough to get you where, as you move forward, eyes still closed, sort of feeling your way, it's only a moment later, you find Talmud's prone body partially covered with debris, some of the same debris you threw off, burning logs, pieces of the wall, probably some bricks from the exploded stove.
As he's making his way over there, Drown fishes around inside his giant tar sea coat and pulls out a little vial that's comically small in his big old tattooed paw and pops the cork out, fishes around in the rubble and hauls Talmud's body out by the the collar of whatever armor or clothing he wears, or the scruff of his neck, whatever's available, and tips the potion down his throat. And kind of at the same time as dragging him towards where Rollo is. Or not Rollo, sorry. Toward Fig.
What level potion is that?
That's a regular old potion of healing.
So something I've been very slowly rolling out. We've had this rule, homebrew rule, for a while that it's a bonus action to quaff a potion. It's a full action to give somebody else a potion.
Mm-hmm.
The addition to that is if you take a full action to administer or to yourself or somebody else a healing potion, they get the full benefit of the potion.
Oh, cool.
So you do not need
10.
to roll.
Sorry. Yeah, 10.
Talmud will get 10 points of healing.
And Drown just sort of says, "On your feet," and lifts him up enough to get his feet
Talmud,
on the
you,
ground.
Oh, no.
your daughter suddenly, that fire, that image of your daughter standing there, just dissipates as quickly as Reagan Voss did, and you find yourself being hauled to your feet by Drown. The sweet taste of healing potion in your mouth. Not at all. Not at all unlike what's her name? What's her name?
Nimsy.
Nimsy's
Nimsy, that's what it is.
yeah, Nimsy's sweet tarts.
Yeah, he's kind of, smacking at the little bit of, dribble that's probably kind of run out of the corner of his mouth that has a little bit left. No, I whoa, happy to see you, big fella.
Kind of gives you a clap on the shoulder and is just heading off into the smoke.
Cantriel.
Saw Fig, and that's all I got.
Cantriel,
Right.
you can hear this commotion. You hear Drown, and then you hear Talmud speaking as well, just a few feet away from you. And at this point, you're all close enough that as Drown begins to move in the direction of Fig, you can just start to make out the shapes of one another. It's not help that you are all completely covered in ash, so you're blending in with the smoke and stuff. But you do now, Cantriel, see Drown, and then right behind him, sort of stumbling, is Talmud.
Yeah, I think if it's all right, Talmud's going to take a second to dig through the ash to find Geralt Brenly. And I think whenever he finds the maul and kind of pulls it out, it's actually like hot to the touch. He's kind of having to kind of gingerly juggle it back and forth between his hands.
In this moment, I would like Thorgarn has stepped away for a moment. Rollo, I would like you to make a... Oh, Thorgarn's back. Thorgarn and Rollo, I would like you to make investigation checks again. This time you can do so straight up as you can begin to hear the voices of your friends.
29.
18.
Because you were both moving in that direction, with that 29, Rollo, you spot and fly full on into the arms of Thorgarn.
Okay. She just barrels into the middle of his chest and like clings to him like a wet cat if you try to rescue it out of water.
That's not
And it
that
just kinda
far off.
climbs
You're
up
probably
you and
wet from
clings.
Drippy putting all the fires out and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. And she's just like clinging to the front of him.
Thorgarn, you're okay. You didn't blow up.
No.
We're looking
Yeah.
for the others.
You can see that, the from all of the explosions and fire, covered in ash and soot, beard is probably, singed quite a bit.
Rolla has a little dust on her. She's otherwise perfectly fine.
I saw the explosion, but I haven't been able to find the others. I heard Talmud go down. Fig cried out. I don't know who's still up.
Rollo called and no one answered. So Rollo's not the worst. But come, we go in. We go in and we find them and we save them.
With that 29, that's enough for you to also see as the ash is sort of clearing and settling. You can just make out the gray forms of your ash-covered Dawnbringer friends, with the exception of Fig. You don't
Okay,
see Fig there.
She hops down and reaches up and grabs Thorgarn's hand and starts like pulling him towards everybody and is just like crying their names. She's got little tears streaking down her face, just from relief at finding Thorgarn. And she's like clutching his hand as tight as she can. It probably feels like a little squeeze, but it's as tight as she possibly can.
I won't let go, and if need be, I'll pick you up and just kind of like carry you along.
Probably after a couple steps, it becomes very apparent that she does not have a good stride, and so it'd be faster.
So scoop you up, and I'm just, you're guiding, and I'm walking forward, and I'm, having my eyes peeled for everybody and seeing if there's anybody down, and if I see anyone that needs it, I will, healing word or run to them and lay on hands, whatever need be done.
Cantriel! Where's Fig? Where's Talmud? Oh, I see Drown! Up there's Talmud. Okay, where's Fig?
I don't know, and I need to find him.
Rolla kind of
And-
looks.
Back in the kitchens with me before things went sideways.
This way. And Drown will sort of gesture with his hand, and the tentacle that still exists sort of lashes up out of the ash, shimmery greenish water.
As you lock in on where Fig is, you all begin moving over there. Fig, I need one more death save. Don't roll a 1.
16.
Don't say it, Jacob.
I thought if I said it, it wouldn't happen.
And it didn't.
Not how that works, but all right.
Fig, take us back inside the Library of Copernicus.
Mhm.
Again, as you succeed on this death save, and you also just begin to hear familiar voices on the edges, like somewhere outside the library.
At this point, most of the library is engulfed in flame. There's smoke so thick that it is clouding the ceiling, the floor, and any surrounding bookcases. The only thing that remains unobscured is that blackboard. As Fig is going up to it, he sees what looks to be a drawing, a diagram of a heart. And he's looking at this, and he sees the writing around it. Yes, that is it. The solution to my equation.
As you see this heart, it's at this point that you realize the blackboard itself has become intangible. It's become like smoke, thick black smoke, and the drawings and calculations are swirls and whorls of white smoke dissipating quickly into the black smoke until all that remains is this image of this heart. As the smoke begins falling heavily, almost like water cascading over a cliff, against this table that has suddenly, you become aware that it's here in this part of the library. It wasn't here before. It's a familiar looking table, though slightly altered. This table is like the table you saw up in the mountaintop fortress, the table that showed you the path of the Chardelin dragon as it flew around 10 towns, threatening to destroy that region. This map is just like that one, except it's showing you, not only is it showing Icewind Dale and 10 towns, but you see further to the south and you can see some of the Sword Coast. And in the same way that that table had a little mechanical version of the Chardelin dragon, you see racing up the coast along its track on this mechanical table a miniature model of a bronze dragon, wings swept back, all the way back as it's moving at top speed, racing across the surface of the coast, heading to the north. And that's when you begin to hear the familiar sounds of Rollo and Drown and the others. You all have spotted in the debris and dust the bright, perhaps it finally pays off, the bright garish colors of clashing that Fig often alters his appearance to look like. The soot and dust has managed to not cling to every one of these surfaces, and you can see Fig standing out brightly amongst the debris. What do you do?
Cantriel runs right over and starts casting Mending on Fig.
I think maybe there's a moment also where like Talmud, Drown, and Thorgarn, all three have to go and move like a piece of the stone wall or something that has fallen over, kind of pinning Fig under part of the building that was once here. And all three of us kind of have to lift in unison to get it off if we can.
Rollo's just dusting Fig off, not knowing what else to do.
Cantriel, you know that your mending is dealing with some of the obvious physical damage to Fig's exterior, but you also know that it's not going to be enough to save Fig from the brink of death. It takes true healing of a magical nature or potion or something like that.
Can I use my lay on hands?
You sure can.
Lean down and see how much do I have left. I mean, I'll pump a good 20 points into him.
Immediately you see like the blue, that arcane like blue, almost like ting 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 ting, like light up in Fig as the arcane magic begins to flow through the arcane tubing, and you see Fig's eyes light up again.
No Windows resuming sound to go along with it.
Just an update percentage.
No, that only happens on level up. We didn't get that yet.
No updates
Hello,
to download.
Thorgarn.
Thorgarn just breathes a sigh of relief hearing your voice. Well, I guess we all made it through.
The kids are safe too. And the ones that had.
Good.
Well, sorry that she couldn't help more, but she was scared.
You saved the kids. You did what you had to.
What in the hell happened?
Got our asses kicked.
That dragon summoned fire from the sky?
Or its master did.
Well, what made it run?
Sounded like it was only here to deliver a message.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure the message is loud and clear that we're not prepared.
We should get out of here before the hag returns.
I got
agree.
another message.
What did you get?
A Charlatan's heading to 10 towns.
Who's the Shardalin?
Remember that
Very
red
nice.
dragon that just puffed into the air? That's his minion.
Oh. That's not good.
No.
But we have friends who could help, right?
Perhaps.
Are you talking about those people in 10 towns? I don't think they're going to be prepared to be able to handle a Chardalon. They couldn't handle a Ariatris.
I also saw something. A table, like the one that we saw with the metal dragon. Another. And sorry, Jake, it was bronze, right?
Yeah, and that dragon should be familiar to you. You've seen that bronze dragon before. You know who it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Lady Vantage, right? No.
Yeah. You've never seen a Shardolin.
Yeah, Fig says a bronze dragon heading north.
What kind of dragon is a Shadowland?
Red.
Red. We saw him in a tapestry hallucination.
Yes, you had a tapestry hallucination in when you were in the Heart of Nightfang Spire, and you did see. I had actually forgotten about that. You saw a Shardolin over the city of Brass.
Yeah. Too many medals.
Yes. No, you all know exactly one bronze dragon.
One that's linked to that hammer that the Talmud's carrying around.
We need to get those children out of here quickly.
They are upstairs in House of Affirmation.
Can you move the House of Affirmation?
No.
Then we need to get them out of here quickly.
Okay.
Also,
how many kids were there?
there's
8.
There were more than 8, weren't there? You take better notes than I do, apparently.
There were 8.
That's right. You're right. Right.
I
also
won't be able to teleport.
I think we're going to have to leave this current mission behind us. I know that there's still one of the hags that we haven't had the chance to deal with yet, but
Wouldn't Evangeline be of help?
maybe. Do we have a better idea where she's at?
She is trapped in the castle, right?
You will not know.
If we rush off and just get back, all we're going to do is die in dragonfire.
We need help. If we save Evangeline, then maybe she help. And her people help, if they want.
I think that's a good idea. So, where's the castle then? How do we get there?
First things first, let's get these kids back to Will.
Okay, be right back.
Loke.
And Rolo will run upstairs and fly up the rest of the way. And when she gets to the house, she will open the door and go find where the kids and the kobold staff are playing. And she'll kind of walk in.
Okay. Hi, everybody.
The first thing you notice
Hello.
is that the shrinking spell has worn off and all the kids are back to normal size.
Oh, that is so convenient. Okay, so we are going to get you out of here and get you somewhere safe. It is going to be scary when you walk out. So, everybody take a hand.
Then she holds out her hand too. And waits for everybody to get like a chain link of hands going.
Okay, we go out together, and we stay together, and we be safe together, okay?
The kids are all pretty quiet, but they all agree. And you see that there's 2 girls that are human, and they look like they're probably maybe 11, and therefore the oldest of the group. And both of them seem to sort of have taken on this overseer role amongst the kids. You see, even as you come in, these two girls sort of position themselves between you and the rest of the kids, and they take the front and back positions of this chain and kind of help them all to figure out what's going on as you form this group.
Okay.
And lead them out.
Once we're all together, I lead them out, and we head downstairs to meet everybody else.
How long does your summon elemental last? It's an hour, isn't it?
I think so. Let me double check. Up to 1 hour, yes.
M used to summon an elemental all the time in Tomb of Annihilation. That's what I remember. I'm going to say that Drippy has sort of been just waiting outside the House of Affirmation for you. And is just, as you step out, there's like one little corner of a bed that just periodically goes, and Drippy just goes, spits a little bit of water, another little spot. As you come out, Drippy sort of takes point and just sort of moves across every once in a while. If there's stairs, will flow down the stairs like a waterfall and is basically cooling and clearing the way before you. As are you heading back to the rest of the group then?
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you, Drippy. You are very helpful.
As you lead the group and they begin to, you see everybody else. The girl in the back breaks the chain. She lets go of the last group. She kind of says to the little boy there, "Stay here," and goes running up to the rest of you and stands in front of you, Cantriel, and says, "Huh, I thought we'd never see you again, Captain." And you see a vague familiarity in this girl, as well as the other girl that's sort of still holding Rollo's hand and holding the other kids. These are Eloise and Jocelyn, two of your crewmates, but they are now 11-year-old children.
Right, Feywild fun. Are you okay?
We are now. Eloise and I've been trying to keep the kids safe, but there wasn't much we could do to stop them when to capture us. What happened? I was an adult and now I'm this.
Time is a puddle in the Feywild.
And you see her just kind of looking around. I'm guessing you kicked that witch's ass, huh?
No. Not entirely. She got away, like they like to do.
In the background, Drown realizes something and pops his shoulder back into joint.
I just got a vision of Grog. Is this supposed to do this? As you're all sort of standing there and planning your next move.
As soon as the talking's done, there's no planning. Drown is like, we gotta go.
Yeah, we're getting out of the blast radius.
All right.
Before we do that, I'm scared to ask, what happened with Fig's simulacrum and Hermes?
Oh, yeah.
You know, I was counting us for teleports, and I'm like, this number seems low.
Your simulacrum has half of your hit points, right?
Yes.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, your simulacrum's gone.
That shit got...
What is Hermes hit points.
33.
Oh.
Even on a save, Hermes would have taken 70 some damage.
Fuck.
He should still be there, because if he dies, Fig can fix him.
So here's what I would like. Because I didn't... It was hard enough managing an ancient red dragon, let alone your or your two companions. Even like I said, even on a save, your simulacrum's gone.
Yes.
I would like you to make a dexterity saving throw for Hermes.
I mean, even on a save, Hermes is toast too, right?
Right. I want to see how bad Hermes got messed up.
Oh God. This is a state of remain saving throw. All right.
Got a nat 20.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay.
So
23.
I mean, this is going to be. You know what? With that, I'm going to say as you're starting to look around, you actually see the last remaining. You see sort of what would have been. It's almost like muddy ash, and you realize that's the snow that was used for your simulacrum. That it's just gone. There's just 2 pieces of coal and a carrot left. But then you hear this sound off to the side. The music switches so appropriately for this. As you hear and moving some of the debris around, you see one of Hermes' feet still attached to his leg, just sort of going tapping up against the wall. And you hear Hermes' voice, which he had not too long ago acquired. I think the word you're looking for is ow, ow, ow. And the voice is coming from about 15 feet away from where his legs are. It takes you a few minutes. I'm not going to make you do any further checks, but you're able to find most of the pieces of Hermes, like all of the important bits. This is a Chewbacca. Yeah, it's just Chewbacca finding C-3PO on Cloud City. You find all the pieces, and Hermes seems to still sort of be there, but it's going to take some work to fix them.
Oh yeah. Fig is going to collect all the pieces, and put them in his hat. And
Okay.
Okay.
I'm waiting for this.
Uh-oh.
As you open your hat to put in pieces of Hermes, a flaming skull shoots upward out of your hat. It is a draconic skull. It is a dragonborn skull.
Oh.
It is one of the one you were saving for later has burst forward and is fully on fire as it is floating in front of you, having just burst out of this hat as soon as you opened it. And that's where we're going to take our break.
Huh.
Cool.
Interesting.
It's fine.
This is 10 hit points. No big deal.
All right.
It's okay,
So-
y'all. I'm at full. I got 72. We're gonna own this dragon.
Everybody
Rolo
just steps
versus
back
Rolo's
and says,
capital.
you got this one, Rolo."
I'm gonna solo it.
All right.
Rolo.
All right. Thank you, everybody who's tuned in so far. Stick around to see what happens when we come back after a short break. We'll see you in about 10 minutes. And we're back.
Hello.
A flaming skull has just burst out of your hat of holding, Fig. its eyes are burning embers of flame. You see the skull, that sort of elongated, draconic skull, as the flesh of this skull that you carefully put away from one of the ones you beheaded at the Wayward Pool where you talked to the unicorn. It's all burning away just as these flames are rising up, and as it shoots up into the air, it floats at about 6 feet above the air or so and stops. The flames just, and you just see as it looks at all of you, a Shardalon rises. Beware all who stand in his way. You will be burned to cinder and ash when
Shatter.
the Lord of Dragons... What?
Shatter.
Okay.
At 6th level.
So technically it's an object. So that's going to be automatic max damage, and then roll again.
I need a calculator. I can't simple math. Okay. So do that.
It took me a second to react because I thought you said shut up.
Kinda did.
I'm like, that's kind of ballsy.
All right.
Rolo with that fuck you damage.
So I got 87 points of damage.
Holy shit.
Behold the coming of a Shardalon as the cult of the dragon. Thing had 40 hit points.
I think it was trying to say something.
Rora.
I would say that I'm going to give you this as sort of a free insight here, is that, one, you get the sense that this skull may have been triggered by the arrival of Reagan Vost and the events, but being stuck inside the hat couldn't come out and deliver its message on time. So it was sort of a delayed, like, the event already happened and you're getting the letter in the mail past the expiration date kind of thing.
Yeah.
The other thing you realize is when you had the two heads, you might have asked the questions of the wrong head. Because the other one told you some information that didn't make sense to you all about a League of Malevolence and a plot to steal a unicorn horn to free somebody. But they all wore Cult of a Shardalon robes.
Yeah.
Sorry. They were scaring the children.
No worries.
Rolla very much looks unnerved.
Nope, that's perfect. Let's get out of here.
He like brushes off a bit of like
Skull fragment.
skull dust that got onto his jacket and just quickly continues to pick up Hermes.
Yeah, you're able to finish putting the pieces of Hermes into the...
God, right. That's what kicked that all off, was opening the hat to put Hermes in there.
That little elf fig.
Yeah. And as they go, Fig is going to like get to work right away because according to the rules, I have an hour. So, yeah.
So
Fig is going to be doing.
I'm going to assist Fig by casting Tensor's floating disc, so that Fig has a workspace.
That is such a great use of that spell.
Thank you.
Meanwhile,
That's awesome.
Cantriel is doing Cure Wounds on Talmud and Drown.
Thank you.
Thank you.
He's waiting for a moment. I'm going to do it 4th level for each of you. So Drown gets 32 back.
Shit. Thank you.
And Talmud is going to get 29 back.
We're all going to need you guys to stop bleeding so much. It's scaring the children.
Oh, don't worry. We're not bleeding. They're more like blisters at this point in time.
At least one.
Yeah, I think I only ever took fire, meteor, and tail smack damage.
It only took meteor damage.
Only meteor damage.
I look slightly less like hamburger now. That's pretty much where I'm at. So
yeah, you got chewed up.
But thank you. Yeah.
Talmud's over here looking like a well done critical ham.
Yeah, for sure.
So, in these intervening moments, as you are casting the various spells and preparing to make your way down, and you see that it's going to be easy enough to kind of get down off of where you were sort of. Well, actually, I take that back, because you all converged on the kitchen, which was already sort of at ground level. So getting out's not a problem. You see, though, that where Loomlurch had walked, it had sort of come to rest near the top of a hill. And you shouldn't be able to have a view right now. You can tell that by the blackened stumps of shattered, burned trees around you, that this part was part of the forest, as well as the giant crater that's partially on this Loomlurch structure. As you look around, you see all around what you can see of the Feywild and Loomlurch. You see a world on fire. You see flames everywhere. Not that the entirety is in like an inferno. You see pockets of fire, places where other craters are within the Feywild. And you notice that there are places where the mist that has constantly been shrouding certain areas, and that you had to pass through to even get into thither from hither, that mist is very slowly burning away. Not like fog in a sunlight, but like if you've ever seen steel wool when it has a flame on it, it just slowly in the sky and all around you see actual burning embers eating away. And as it does so, far off in the distance, you can see what looks to be a palace in the sky.
Anyone recognize it? Hello does not.
I assume not, yeah.
You hear a voice.
No.
Coming out from what remains of the forest about 30 feet to your right. That's Prismere. As Will of the Feywild steps forward with the rest of the Get Along gang. We shouldn't be able to see that.
Why is that?
Oh, ever since
Prismere is Evangeline's home. Yes.
Yeah. And ever since the Hourglass Coven took over everything, the mists have been covering up like a wall between the different realms that they split up amongst themselves.
Does that mean they've lost power here?
Or perhaps they died in the meteor fall.
Or they're abandoning it.
Well,
Or they left.
I don't think they're dead, and I don't think they left either. We found these
They don't want
three.
to draw any more attention to themselves.
We found these three snooping around. And he turns back and you see Zenner and Sloan and Bobby, the other three of the Get Along gang. They sort of pull up from behind them three figures that look very familiar to all of you, though you haven't seen them since the Witchlight Carnival. Actually, I don't know if all of you saw them. I know Cantriel saw them. You see,
I think we all saw the one of the pig mask ones.
Yes, so you see what looks like a little girl wearing a pig mask. You see what looks like, you would absolutely recognize this creature now. It's one of Bavlorna Blightstraw's Lornlings, these sort of frog-like creatures. And the other one is this shadowy girl, looks to be anywhere from a teenager to a young adult woman, who her very clothes almost seem to be made of shadow, and she wears a mask that looks like a crescent moon. And they just sort of shove them forward. You just see the little Lornling is just sort of crouched down like a frog, big eyes just blink, blink, looking up at all of you.
Hi, what are you doing here?
Sloan gives the girl with the pig mask, sort of gives her a shove, and she kind of stumbles forward a minute. And you see her turn, and she reaches to her waist where you see an empty knife sheath. And she just goes, ah. We were sent to look for you.
Okay, you found us.
We were sent to see if you were dead.
We're not dead.
Well, duh. Now,
who sent you exactly?
I was sent by the leader of the Hourglass Coven, Granny Nightshade. You see immediately the other two just kind of look. The Lornling looks over, even though the eyes are just these big things, it's just like a look of shock. And the shadow just goes... Everyone knows Endolin Moongrave is the leader of the Hourglass Coven. The Lornling just croaks. Bavlorna Blightstraw.
Oh, this is awkward.
No, this is typical.
Will just says, it doesn't matter which one of them's in charge. Tell them what you told us. Fine. The Hourglass Coven would like to meet with you in parley at Motherhorn.
I'll look over at Will. Do you know where this is?
I know of it, but she does, as he points to the shadow girl.
Can you take us there?
Eventually, they would like you to come within the next day.
Okay, well, it's gonna be at least 8 to 10 hours.
Excellent. I mean, that's perfect.
Cool. Okay, in the meantime, why don't you get comfortable and we will go talk.
Can I get a read on that one that said excellent?
Yeah, Go ahead and make an insight check.
$23.
You get a sense that at the mention of the amount of time you would need, that's kind of a two-way street. It's you all get a chance to rest up, but that means the coven has a chance to rest up as well.
But they're inviting us to a parlay. Oh, Thorgarn doesn't have a whole lot of knowledge in regards to faith politics, but usually you're coming to a parlay, it means, hands off.
Yeah, but I would say with that 23, you also know that when you're going to invite your enemy into your home, you don't do so when you're not feeling the greatest. That's kind of that's kind of the read that you get off of the whole thing. You do know that there are the remnants of the rules of the Feywild, which some of the hags have seemed to have clung to, and I can't remember them right now. I can't find them, but the rules of reciprocity and hospitality being the one that would be most important to that. So that's where the little girl with the mask says, "Fine. Can we go now? We've delivered our message."
One of you has to show us how to get there, though.
Can we just tell you where it is?
No.
She just
Roll
crosses
like
her
glances
arms.
over at Fig again.
She just crosses her arms. Fine. Too bad I didn't want to go anywhere right now anyway. We'll just wait over here.
Okay.
And you see as they start to move off to the side, Bobby and Sloane and Will and the other one, I forgot their name already, Zenner, they immediately take up this sort of escort position, moving them over. Will very confidently says, "Don't you worry about these three. We've got them under control. Get over here," and starts walking them off to the side.
Thank you.
Can these children go stay with Little Oak?
Are you asking Will that?
Yeah.
Since you asked the question, I would like you to roll me a D100, Dan. I'm going to get the Skull Dice Tower out for this. I'm going to roll my baseline.
I got a 64.
So, what I did get a chance to say was that there's a 40% chance that Little Oak did not survive the meteor swarm.
Oh, no.
That means if you rolled within 20 on either side of what I rolled, Little Oak didn't make it. You rolled a 60-something?
64.
I rolled a 21. You're fine.
Oh, hooray.
Will seems to hesitate for a moment and then says, Yeah. You see this, he gets this gleam in his eye like he's had to put up with Bobby, Sloane, and Zenner for a while. Now he gets a whole bunch of kids that he's essentially going to be the leader of. It's like his whole gang just exponentially increased. And yeah, we can take them there. What about these three? You want us to take them with us? And are you coming?
How far is it? I'm not sure how far Loomlarch walked.
It's a couple hours.
That's fine. Let's just all go.
So, Fig, I believe you just have to spend time casting mending and doing repairs, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
So, you all are able to make your way through these burning remnants of the Feywild realm of Thither. Where before you saw various signs of autumn, you now see mostly
There is signs of burning.
there's signs of burning and blight everywhere from what happened. And you still see that everything has this sort of fiery glow to it from the constant burning away of the mists surrounding this area. As you make your way through, Fig, you are able to continue along, working on Hermes. Hermes will definitely have some lingering effects of the damage that happened. I'll leave that to you to flavor that how you wish. But it takes about 2.5 hours for your little entourage to make it back to where Little Oak is. And you actually find, as you get closer, this region seemed to have, for at least almost a mile in every direction, seemed to have been unscathed. So this is probably the closest to what Thither looked like before, as you see the familiar form of Little Oak in the tree. And very quickly the Get Along gang begins showing the kids around the tree and showing them there's a tree swing and all the cool things that kids would be interested in. And you see Eloise and Jocelyn immediately sort of taking up, or rather continuing that protective stance over the rest of the children. Both of them giving Will of the Feywild a little bit of side eye. They don't fully trust him, but a couple of the kids are very happy to have discovered Star, the Displacer kitten, and are playing with them. As you all are free to, if you have anything you want to discuss or any plans you want to make or whatever, as you will be able to get a full long rest.
Oh, thank God.
Until, I'm just kidding.
I will reach through this computer.
I believe it. I almost TPK'd you last week. I'm going to let you have. This isn't going to be another 2-month-long 24-hour period.
Yeah. At some point during the evening, Rollo kind of, when everybody's kind of clumped together, Rollo kind of walks to the middle of the room.
Well, I just want to say that was really scary, and Rollo is very glad that all of you are okay. And Rollo is very sorry for your simulacrum.
Fig nods. I think he has brought like a piece of the simulacrum with him, whatever he found in like even if it's just like a bit of dust that he has, and he just holds it. And it was a great experiment that I am looking forward to improving on.
I know Well, not everybody is scared. Because the dragon that Rollo completely missed, and is okay with that, was really big. It was very scary. And I know it is scary, but we are the Dawnbringers. And Rollo knows how strong in the heart everyone here is. And Rollo knows that we won't give up. And Rollo is really glad to walk this path with her friends.
Isn't she just the sweetest? All of you hear this voice from Talmud that isn't Talmud's voice.
Yes, Auntie,
Anybody-
always.
Is he raging?
If anybody looks at him,
Yeah.
his tattoos are glowing, and Auntie's face is projected just outside of his own. And he kind of shakes
What?
his head, and the tattoos fade. Well, we all love you, Rollo.
Well, I love you too, Talmud.
And she like scampers across the floor and just pounces, hugs him.
So,
That's right,
Talmud,
it's
when
really-
you,
really scary.
Talmud, when you say we all love Rollo, do you mean all of us, or? And she kind of waves at his tattoos. All of them.
Huh? Well, both, I suppose. Don't rightly know, but I mean, Rollo's good people. I think most of my relatives would realize that.
Rollo kind of
Let's see.
pats his tattoos gently.
Thank you.
See, Rollo, you're loved by more than you realize.
Rollo is very happy to be with friends.
More than that, I pretty much just look at all of you as family. So much together.
Rollo likes that. Family is not something Rollo's used to, but Rollo likes it.
It's a nice feeling.
That fight yesterday, we weren't prepared for, and it could have gone very bad. That thing stuck around. That left another blast. I don't think any of us would be standing here.
We are really only alive because it decided not to kill us.
Which I still don't understand. If we're such a threat to a Chardalon, why not just have him wipe us out now?
Because the
Maybe he
Chardalon
wants
wants
to
the
be the
pleasure
one.
of killing us.
A Chardalon either wants the pleasure or needs us for something.
Going to be both.
If he just wants to kill us, all he'd have to do is just show up right afterwards. I'm sure that he has the capability of doing so. There's got to be another reason why he's left us alive.
Maybe it can't.
Dragons are smug. The one that left, we heard it pretty bad. Maybe it didn't know how much fight we had left. We were all still standing when it backed away and fled.
That's true.
Maybe it was scared. And it didn't want to die. It came to deliver a message. It did so. And let's face it, it's an evil dragon. If we're so powerful and we go kill a Chardalon, maybe he tries to take a Chardalon's throne. Maybe that's what he's counting on.
Well, we know that Chardalon and this Regenvost are the same kind of dragon, aye?
Yes.
Red.
So then we have some idea about what a Shadowland might be capable of.
Roland really needs to get some not fire spells.
Yes, in
I
this
think
case,
we all need that.
don't kill it with fire. It's not going to do us any good.
I think
We need to find
we're-
ways to protect ourselves from fire.
More importantly, we need to protect ourselves from its presence. I'm not gonna sugarcoat this. I'm rather ashamed of being afraid of that creature with all the dragons that we fought. I couldn't get close enough to it.
Rolo
It's
walks
not
over
the first
and
time.
pats his shoulder.
It's okay, Thorgarn. Orlo couldn't leave the house. It was very scary.
But if we're gonna go kill a dragon, and not be afraid of the damn thing.
Dragon fear is no small thing. Perhaps we can find a way to protect ourselves from that as well.
Now, perhaps Moradin will offer some guidance as to what spells might be able to help out in that regards, but I'm gonna cast spells that do that, and I'm not gonna be able to give in to the ancestors. I can't do both.
Cantriel, you've cast spells that settle people's feelings. Yes?
In the past, yes.
That might protect us against the fear.
I haven't done it in quite a while, is the thing.
We're not going to sit down and consider.
I don't think I have anything that'll be of any help.
How many hours do we have for the long rest?
Given that I believe it was nighttime when you all headed over there. It was getting in towards dusk, so it's honestly, I mean, you have at least 8. You could take 10, 12. You want 12 hours, don't you? I just realized what you're asking. So I will say...
No, I don't want 12. I don't think that he would want to, but I would need 14, which would...
that is going to be up to Fig convincing the others to wait that long.
And remember that you can't, cast a spell through a long rest. Or maybe you can. How does your rest work?
He is... Well, see, here's the thing. I'm not sure. He has to be in an inactive, motionless state.
Right.
So basically, he can just perceive things.
Yeah, you basically just sit or stand there.
Yeah. But Fig turns to, I believe it's Cantriel who has it. May I see the stone? There's a stone that I think he gave to Thorgarn, who gave to Cantriel. there's a stone around.
Somebody has the transmuter stone.
Yeah.
Oh. Was that the one that had the
Resistance to
cold?
lightning. Or was it cold? Yeah.
Yeah, it was cold at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wait, I don't need 8 hours. Oh, I only need 6 because I just need the stone.
Okay. Yep.
And I think you
Yeah,
can
that's
change it
true.
whenever you cast a transmutation spell.
Mm-hmm.
Hands back the stone then.
Perfect. Okay. Then Fig is going to take it in his hands. He covers it. I need a transmutation spell that I will find. I have a lot, I'm sure. So he takes this stone and he holds it up high and drops it. And as he does so, you see almost as if it's like re-entering like the atmosphere, like it gets that like hot look underneath it as it's like plummeting down from this like 6 feet of height, and it slows down, and he is going to just casts Featherfall on himself because he can, and then he's going to change the stone so that anyone who has it has resistance to fire.
Perfect.
Fig's over here just casting a mini reenactment of the greatest trauma you've had in the last 24 hours with a meteor.
Yeah.
Remember that meteor that almost killed us?
Here it is.
Check it out, I made it.
It's fine.
But this time
I
it'll
made a
help
1/16th
you.
scale model.
He would offer it to anyone who wants to take it, who is the most flammable. So, for anyone who wants resistance to fire.
Well, I would like it, please.
Okay. Yeah.
Say either
I would say
or,
either Rolo or Fig, probably, but
I was gonna say Rolo or Cantriel.
Rolo is very squishy.
Rolo has the least hit points, and Cantriel's, got the ability to do a lot of damage. He's got the ability to do healing. Is our leader. Lots of things.
That is good
kicking
point.
myself for not asking. Kicking myself for not asking that treasure weaver to knit me up a ring of fire resistance.
Cantriel does have a really good dex save though.
Yeah.
So
I've got a plus
Yeah,
9.
well, we had 2 people with a nat 20 that still failed that. So
And probably better hit points, but yeah.
then Rolo, yeah.
So, as
Well, I'm pretty sure Drippy had better hit points.
as you all are able to get this long rest and do a couple of things, there's a couple things that are going to happen here. First off, probably most importantly, and we'll resolve part of this before we end the stream, you all are now level 15.
Holy shit.
You just faced and survived a battle against a lieutenant of a Chardalon. If that doesn't earn a level up, I don't know what does.
Mostly survived.
So, yeah. So, we'll do the hit point rolling at the end of the stream here in a moment. But you all will get to level up to 15. I believe most, if not all of you, get new features at that level.
action surge.
So, the other thing that happens is Cantriel. You hear Sonata's voice in your mind again. Sorry, dear sister. Limited spellcasting. She slurs it together, so that's one word.
Limited spellcasting.
A Chardalon has become a great worm with power that echoes across the multiverse. And he has somehow bolstered himself. There's a pause. You can respond to that casting if you'd like.
Cantriel will just sort of make a disgusted click of her tongue. Who's he working with?
There's a moment and you hear, he mostly did it himself, but worked with some kind of demon. Met a nice captain flying me to 10 towns. He's kind of hot. No, I'm just kidding.
Stay away from that one. Trust me. And no, he's not hot. He's just stupidly charming.
Potato, potato.
So that ends. So that's the second thing that happened. And you now know, based on yesterday and now this, what they're telling you, that she seems to only be able to use sending twice. The third thing that happens, and Cantriel, you would be the first to hear this with your ridiculous 21 or 22 or whatever it is, passive perception. You hear somewhere up above the sound of massive wings beating the air. And then you see the shadow pass quickly overhead of a large draconic shape. And then you hear about 50 feet away through the trees where the nearest clearing is. And you can hear a little bit of shuffling. You hear the sound of a tree fall over. And then one of the Hourglass Coven thieves, the little girl Sow Pig, who you've learned her name with the pig mask, says, "Our ride's here." And you would see through to this clearing that there is, at first glance, what looks like a Jabberwock. But its wings are made of stretched canvas and animal hides, and it seems to have visible bone structure that's made of timbers and rope tying it, and you quickly realize this is an ornithopter in the shape of a Jabberwock.
Oh, I love it!
And this is how you are all getting to Motherhorn. But we'll see that in our next session. That's where we're going to end tonight's session. Before we do our little outros, head out here, though, I would like each of you to go ahead and roll your hit points up for your level up. Remember, if you roll a 1, you can re-roll, or you can choose to take the average if you don't want to risk a dice roll.
I average.
Okay. Yeah, I'd take the static.
Gonna do the same.
Nobody wants to risk the dice roll.
I did. I rolled.
Okay.
I rolled and got average, so.
Okay.
It was meant to be.
It was a 1, then it was a 9. So that's a nice solid 12 for me.
I rolled and got a 10, so
Oh shit!
I'm
Nice.
good.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
And then whatever my con bonus is, I think it's a +3.
Nice. So, the Dawnbringers are now level 15 adventurers. And a reminder, because I meant to say this at the beginning of the stream, but I was kind of caught up in getting into the opening narration. We announced last week that the Dawnbringers is in its final arc. This will be the last season of the Dawnbringers, leading up to the finale season or finale arc, which will be approximately 3 or 4 sessions. And that is called The Rise of a Shardalon. And we'll be having, I'm still working on, hopefully this weekend, I can get the trailer for that new season put together, and we can start sharing that. But that's why things have taken a dramatic turn. Yeah, so we're heading into the end game with these Avenger level characters who did just get their butt kicked by a lieutenant of a Chardalon. So maybe a level up, maybe those extra 10 hit points is what you needed, or whatever it was with your con boost. Yeah, thank you to everybody who tuned in. Thank you to new followers and viewers participating in the chat, as well as everybody else there. Thank you. If you are somebody who likes to quietly lurk in the background and just listen in on things, thank you so much for hanging out with us, and we appreciate you all the same and hope you enjoy everything. Yeah, as always, a huge thank you to these amazing players that I'm so lucky I get to play with you all. And it's exciting to see where this final bit of the Dawnbringers is going to go. So thank you, V, Dan, M, Ted, Jeremy, and Katie, without whom this would just be me talking to myself for a couple hours. With that, we're going to end the stream the same way we end every stream, and you can say it with me if you want.
I love it.